Enjoy every moment you have, because in life, there are no rewinds, only flashbacks. Make sure it's all...
1980s, in retrospect, in terms of developing one's own creative writing skills, anything from sketches, short plays, short stories, poems, one-chapter novels, that sort of thing. There was a funding agency, well, the biggest at the time, I'd describe as Arts Council of Great Britain. But for us here in the neck of the woods, Nottingham experience, I would describe it as East Midlands Arts, celebrated in Loughborough, Leicestershire. We all decided to apply for a little pot of money in order to fund our very first anthology. So, looking at it now, in retrospect, people like Sherrill Turner, Anthony Robinson, Cherry Maxwell, Beverly Lindsay Dennis, Vida Watley, Christine Bell, with the exception of Nestle Saunders, who, in writing a whole book of poems of her own volition, entitled Divine Inspiration, written and self-published during 1983. So now, rather like chips flying from the block, or so says the poet, her own daughter went on in the early 1990s to write her own book of poems entitled Echoes of a Whisper. Whilst speaking of the anthology, one of the contributors of the time was Martin Glynn, who in today's world is Dr. Martin Glynn, and ours truly, Pitman Browne. And they are part and parcel. The title of this poem is For the Beautiful Sunlight. The sun shines through the early morning mist, while the birds with the various sounds welcome the morn. The blooming tropical flowers heavily laden with dew, welcoming the bees and hummingbirds. As the sunlight streams through the window, I know it is time to face the day. As we leave our beds to look through the window, we bid goodbye to the night. As we welcome the light, bats and owls retreat in fright, the daylight affecting their sight. But as for me, I love the light, to see the beautiful colors of nature. Oh, what a pleasant sight! Thank God for the sunlight, so beautiful. Cherry Maxwell. Unfortunately, Cherry has passed on some 4 years ago, but she was one of the foundation members of the Chroma Black Writers, and I dare say the daffodil and the grass. I remember her by a poem for that name. I wish I could read something about the daffodil and the grass. Beverly, Lindsay, Dennis. You know, I was beginning to think, what am I going to learn from all of this? The important thing is the faculty of performance poetry for the very first time was beginning to rise up from out of this equation. You'd say because poetry, people generally thinking, is just written work. Beverly Lindsay was just like opening the doors for us to perform, stand on our feet and perform what we've written. And so as one community center followed by another and another, she became a beacon for us not only to stay or hide underneath the table, but come forward and deliver our work to the delight of audiences. We're cheered.
Enjoy every moment you have, because in life, there are no rewinds, only flashbacks. Make sure it's all worth it.
Give thanks for the work that street education is doing.